Bum, 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 bum. Oh, wow. Whoa. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. Finally got my hands on the DJI Mini 5 Pro drone. I have done extensive videos on the Mini 4 Pro. Here it is right here. This is going to be the Plus combo with those extended batteries. Anyway, in this video, guys, we're going to be unboxing this guy, setting it all up, just really inspecting it close up, see the changes that we have between the Mini 4 Pro and the Mini 5 Pro, do some updating, see what this package is all about, see how it compares. This is going to be the first in my in-depth series on the Mini 5 Pro. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me if I could do this, and so I bought one just for you guys. The next few videos are going to be full-on flight testing it, range testing it, and possibly some other videos. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. Anyway, guys, let's get started with the Mini 5 Pro. Let's get into this box. Exciting. If you're wondering if I'm getting the Neo 2, I am getting that as well. Same sorts of tests with that. That should be fun. That little guy was so much fun with goggles. So anyway, here we go, man. We're opening it up for the first time. This is my first time with you guys. So no rehearsing here. I do all my videos without really rehearsing anything or anything like that. So you can kind of get just the realness. Check out the back of the box. That's how it's going to look when it's, you know, all ready to fly here. Big old honking camera. Look at that 1-inch sensor. Beautiful. This thing is going to be just a photo powerhouse in a mini form. Like I said in my videos, they're honest. And so if there's anything that's not really perfect on this thing, I am going to show it in my videos. And that usually rears its head in the tracking tests. I forgot to mention that. We're going to also do a tracking test scenario on this in the woods where I live. And every DJI drone I have owned and tested has crashed in the woods here. So we'll see if this one has gotten better. Anyway, there it is, guys. So that's the box. 3 batteries in here. That's the 52-minute flight time. Crazy. We're going to be testing that too, because sometimes it's hard to believe these numbers. We'll see how it goes. Okay, guys, let's do this. First time out of the box. So there we go. If this is your first time owning a DJI drone, make sure you scan these QR codes and watch the tutorials. They have their manuals all digital now, so they really don't have just anything except warranty card and a tiny little booklet for you. Check this bag out. It's looking very similar to some of the other bags. I actually went over and grabbed my flip bag right here, because check that out. It's the same exact design. So this is kind of like an enlarged flip bag. It's got the same handle right here on the back, the same exact shoulder strap. The only difference is it's just a little bit wider. And that's interesting that they're making the Mini 5 Pro bag this much bigger compared. Here's the Mini 4 Pro. Mini 4 Pro was a little taller, but look how much smaller the Mini 4 Pro bag. You really had to squeeze anything in there. Maybe they were getting some complaints or whatever. Let's take this off. There we go. No pockets, nothing. I really wish they would bring back those pockets they had on the side. I mean, if this was just like mesh or something and just like little elastic pockets, sure would be nice to store something in there. Anyway, they're not doing that. We just have an enlarged flip bag here, and let's unzip it for the first time. Check it out, guys. We're getting the waterproof type zipper. Ta-da! Wow, look at this. So, top pocket. Let's unzip it. That's surprising. Nothing in the top. There's usually a bunch of junk in that pocket. Start pulling some stuff out, guys. Here's the controller. So the RC2 controller doesn't look like it's going to be any different, guys, than the controller that came with the Mini 4 Pro RC2. The only thing I'm a little worried about is this isn't like really the FCC version anymore. These drones aren't really shipping to the US straight from DJI. So, you know, there's that whole fiasco going on. So I'm a little worried about this one having the range that the actual US FCC version has. So we're gonna see that. Anyway, let's continue on. Keep checking out what's in the box here, in the bag. There, that looks like an accessory box. Here is the drone, yes! Get that to that in a second. Here is the multi-charger with 2 batteries. Nothing else in that bag, but you can see that we've got tons of room in there. So more room than the Mini 4 Pro bag. This is the multi-charger with 2 of the plus batteries. Wow, they're going back to a darker gray. We've got a very dark gray here, guys. Interesting. Hopefully you can kind of see that. I mean, they have everything so tiny. This is crazy. I honestly have to get my phone and magnify it to even read this stuff. 4,680 mAh at 8.6 volt nominal, guys. That is a big battery for how small the form factor is. Look how tiny this thing is. I'll tell you what, guys, as we're pulling stuff out, I'm just going to compare it with the Mini 4 Pro stuff. Here's the Mini 4 Pro color, and there's the Mini 5 Pro. Is this a little bit taller? Let's see. A tiny bit taller, actually. Interesting. This was an 8.5 volt nominal. This is 8.6, 3850 mAh. Just about 1,000 more mAh on this one. That's incredible. They're just squeezing so much more power in. Just kind of looking at all of the notches and everything, guys, it looks like all the notches are exactly the same too. So it looks like you're going to be able to use your Mini 4 Pro batteries with your Mini 5 Pro. I don't see any differences in the notches and form factor here. Same thickness, all the notches are exactly the same, and the clips and everything. Man, that's amazing how they're really just increasing their batteries every generation. Awesome. Mini 5 Pro stuff on the right and the Mini 4 Pro stuff on the left. Check out the controller too. The plastic's a little bit darker on the 5 Pro, but this is the same exact RC2 controller. Nothing at all different here all the way around. It's just exactly the same. So I'm not even really gonna get into it. Just a little tiny bit darker. Okay guys, accessory pack for the Mini 5 Pro. I haven't seen them do this before. They usually have all those accessories right here. They usually put them all in this bag right here, the zipper bag and the mesh top. So this is different. 1 motor propellers, 2 motors, 3 motors, 4 motors, 5 motors, 6 motors. So a set and a half of propellers. We've got our A's and our B's here, color coded so you don't put them on the wrong motors. Looks like there's a whole set on the drone here. We're gonna get to this in just a second. I'm just saving the best for last. USB-C to C, 1-foot cable. What else do we have in here? Ooh, wow, are these ND filters? This looks like an ND filter box. Cool, they're including them with their Firmware combos now. Check this out, guys. Ooh, very nice. Look at that, ND8, 32, and 128. And they have that special over clip. Wonder if these will work on the flip. That's interesting too. They kind of grab on the left and right edges in this rubber case. Very different than what I've seen, but look at those filters, just beautiful. All right, we'll try to put one of those on when we get the drone out. What else we got in here, guys? Oh, that's just kind of a space holder on the bottom of that box. The only other thing was a DJI sticker and a couple of little manuals. DJI store card, flight safety and rules, EASA European. Oh, see, this is the Euro model. So we'll see how it does. Gosh, USA, get yourself together, man. Stop being so paranoid. Little tiny guide, and it just kind of goes through a quick start. Also, it shows you how to put on those ND filters. Cool. Here we go. Main event. Let's get into the drone. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. Oh, wow. Whoa. Completely different front gimbal cover mechanism. Look at this. It's kind of like the Mavic type of front guard now. Incredible. Let's just see how this thing just clips over into the vents. Let's bring out the Mini 4 Pro real fast. Here we go. There's a quick little comparison. A front on view, 5 on the right, 4 on the left. See that darker plastic? It's just a darker gray all the way around. All integrated. That's cool. I like to see that kind of progression. You see how this one, the Mini 4 Pro, was 2 separate things? You had your camera gimbal and front sensor cover here, and then you had this guy here that kind of like held all the arms together and the propellers in and protected the bottom sensors. This was always kind of a task to take on and off for me. Never really wrapped around perfectly, and then you could hear stuff like cricking and cracking. I probably just cracked a propeller, yikes. Anyway, put that to the side. And here's the new one. Check it out. So all integrated. Oh, that's cardboard. So we're probably going to be taking that out. That's probably just for shipping. I like this design. Unclips, pulls off of the front. This is very interesting. Boom. And then it just kind of like all falls apart on the bottom. I'm hoping this is just for shipping and you don't really need this to hold everything together. Let's take off some of these protection stickers and pads from shipping. Talk about exciting. Look at that camera, guys. Let's just check out this camera real fast. I'm not seeing any other stickers on the camera. E24 1.8, 1 inch there on the bottom. Beautiful. So look at that venting on the top. This thing's going to be heating up and flying, and it's going to be cooling itself. Those are some deep vents there all the way around the back of it. Look at that on the bottom as well. Let's compare each aspect, guys. Look at how much more bulky that camera is, and we're getting that much more flight time. That's crazy. Look how much smaller this little Mini 4 Pro camera is on the left. Incredible. The gimbal on the 4 on the left, and then look at the gimbal on the 5 right here. Just look how much more robust and bulky it is. That's crazy. Even has like a little stop mechanism here from turning left and right too much. Wow, it's really just like dangling like that. I mean, this one was dangling too on the 4, but you know, this is just like chump change compared to the 5 Pro. Look at this thing. Wow. So the design change is just slightly different. It looks like the 5 Pro on the right is a little bit longer. See how that front just comes down a little. Everything seems like it's a little bigger on the 5 Pro. Very interesting. The propeller on the 5 is a little more scooped, like a little more rounded here. The 4 had the bulge right here. Even the motors and everything are different. Look at this. Ooh, are these twist lock? Looks like it, guys. Let's check this out. They finally made twist lock on the Mini series. Let's just open this up. So same way they open. The fronts come down, the rear goes back. Oh, it also has auto on. Check that out when you open it up. What the heck? That should be a setting you can turn off and on. What I was starting to do before it turned on was check out the propellers, because they do look like they are twist lock. Yes, they are. Oh my gosh, they figured it out, guys. They figured it out. Look at this. They figured out how to twist lock these tiny little propellers on and still make it fly longer. That's incredible. So look at this, just 3 little tabs. There's a spring on the center shaft. On the tip, it has little splines on the tip. So that's gonna go in, and that's what's kind of like connecting correctly, I guess, on the inside of the middle of the propeller. And then all you're doing is pushing down, just like any other twist lock, turning it one way or the other. This was counterclockwise, and then it would pop back up and lock. Unbelievable. We finally have twist locks. I was wondering when they were going to do that. And guys, these aren't just flailing around propellers. Check this out. The Mini 4, look at the propellers. Flailing, just no rhyme or reason. They're just loose, dangling. Look at the Mini 5. They're actually somewhat tensioned. You see that? How they just kind of like hold their position. That'll make it easier to strap all together. Sensors front, rear. 4 had them a little higher up here facing up, and the 5 has it a little more back on that top back one. Very interesting. So they probably changed the cameras just slightly, and so we have maybe a wider view for detection. The 4 kind of had this plastic coming out to protect the sides of the gimbal. They got rid of that, and now look at the 5. It's just got the gimbal coming out over here. No real side protection. Hopefully our arms are a little more stable for crashes. We'll see. Maybe we'll have a crash or two, and we'll see how that goes. Hard to see on camera, but guys, there is quite a bit of a more aggressive angle on these motors on the 5, tilted forward. All right, Mini 5 Pro bottom area. What do we got here? One big old bright LED light here. Not even any venting or anything down here. Very interesting. Ground sensors right here. Cameras. So everything on the bottom is almost the same. This light is a little farther away from that laser sensor, and also it's a little more angled down and back. Inside feet, they're a little higher up and kind of protecting the gimbal and these cameras, whereas on the 4, the feet were way more farther back. You see on the 4 how they had the cooling vents over here, and the 5, there's just nothing there. I'm thinking the 5 must have a fan. Look at this, there's an actual button here on the side. So we got our power button on the top, another button on the side, a little SD card port here for our memory card, and a USB-C. Let's see if that's any different. Pretty much the same as the 4 there. Take out this battery, see what's going on here. So another one of the plus batteries. Brighten that up for you. Class 1 consumer laser product. Huh. Anyway, that's all the internals. Again, only seeing one cable here, so all we have is the USB-C cable. So if you wanted to charge everything at once, guys, it looks like you're gonna need to get another USB-C cable. Oh yeah, one last thing I forgot to do before I wanna charge it, guys, and put it up on the controller so you can see the interface, is I wanted to put one of these filters on. Let's try the ND8. So how does this work? I don't really know. Let's just test it out. Do we just push it on? Wow. Or do we have to take this off? Nope. Wow, that was quick and easy. Did you see that? So you just push the top and bottom over, it clips on, and look at that. Super easy, my goodness. And then we just kind of grab the camera and pull. Okay, you're gonna wanna be careful on this, because it seems like you could kind of pull some supports out if you didn't do this right. Yeah, that's really on there. Now that it clipped, yikes, guys. There we go. Just really pull on the top part, up and out. Not really out much. Let's try that again. There, now it clipped in. Just make sure you kind of like pull it around and make sure they're both clipped in and grabbing. Otherwise that thing will fall off. Just holding the bottom and yeah, pulling the top kind of up and out. Anyway, guys, very cool. I'm going to touch base with you in just a second after I get these batteries charged up. Let's see, let's go ahead and press the power button. You can see the charge state of each battery is now full. It charges one at a time, but each battery from its about 50% charge out of the box only took about 25 minutes on about a 50-watt charger. Actually, I didn't even charge the remote controller. Let's see if we can just charge it from one of the batteries if we don't even have them plugged in. Let's go ahead and grab the remote controller, plug that bad boy in. There we go. Okay, as you can see, the remote controller back here on the right started to charge. So it is fast charging from the actual charge hub. Let me see what happens if we take a battery out while it's doing this fast charge. It stopped for a second and then it continued on. So you have the capability to do this, guys, if you want to. Go ahead and fast charge different items. Use this as a power bank if you need to charge your cell phone, controller, whatever you might want to charge. So let's go ahead and pop this bad boy into the Mini 5. This is going to be cool. As you can see, it's turning on, obviously, probably because it has a function in the settings that enables it to turn on when the arms are out, kind of like what happens with the DJI Flip. So let's go ahead and check this out. We'll go ahead and pull the antennas up. Again, like I said, this is just the RC2 controller, so I'm not going to go super into this. It has these sticks that are in the back there that we can just screw on. These are aluminum sticks. Be careful not to lose these because they don't give you any extra sticks in the package anymore. They used to give you another set, but honestly, I'd rather have the ND filters right here than an extra set of sticks. So at least they give us that in this Firmware Combo Plus pack. All right, guys, while it's charging from the battery bank, let's go ahead and try to power this bad boy on. So click, hold in, click and hold. The RC2 takes a little while to boot up, so it's going to just take, you got to be patient. Just going to take about 30 seconds. And so this is our first boot up, guys, of the Mini 5 Pro. I'm going to click next because I have an English language. Agree. I am in the United States, so make sure that's checked. Next. So this is interesting. So you can still use it in the US and everything, even though I'm getting it from, obviously I bought this from Amazon, but it doesn't look like it's FCC enabled, so that's what I'm worried about. Select a Wi-Fi network. So I have my Wi-Fi at home here. Just gonna punch this in real quick. Connected to my Wi-Fi network. All right, let's go next. Obviously we're not in Beijing, China, so we need to select our time zone. Mountain time here, let's press OK. And next. Kind of the same things you do with every drone with DJI. Make sure your time is set correctly. And log in. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account now. Welcome. Let's get started. All right. So just a few little informations here on how to use the drone and the controller. You all should be familiar with this if you watched my other videos. Just kind of shows you how to hold the controller, what the buttons do. Go to DJI Fly. So this is interesting. It hasn't queried me to get the DJI insurance yet. Let's see if we skip this here. That's their infamous screen there. I'm just going to authorize all. I'm not going to join the product improvement. Activate DJI device. Okay, agree. So guys, this is what you're going to have to do. Even if you have an account, you're going to have to do this with every DJI drone you have. That's just how it is. And it already has an update. So new firmware available, DJI Mini 5 Pro. For the drone itself, we have a 647 megabyte, just about 648 update. And actually for the controller, wow, 1.39 gigs. 1392 megabytes. That's a huge update for this controller. So let's just go ahead and do it. I always like to do the updates with you just to kind of like show you, what it takes to do them. I might speed this up a bit. I'm getting about, let's see where it averages our speed. I'm getting about 4-ish megabytes per second maximum, just over 2 gigs of data this has to update with. It's really important if you're going to do this update just to let it do its thing. Don't try to rush things. Make sure you watch the screen. If it tells you to reboot the device, go ahead and reboot the device. Don't turn it off right now or get impatient because you could possibly mess up the update and mess up the product. Just about 18% done on the update. And I thought this might be a good time to talk about some things I didn't talk about. You see how these new sensors on the front of the Mini 5 are different than the actual camera sensors for obstacle avoidance. So these are going to work as lasers in low light or probably even nighttime. These will prevent the drone from crashing into stuff that's directly in front of it. So I don't think I mentioned that, but this is a great addition. I don't know if you remember, but I was trying to do with the Mini, I think it was the Mini 3 or the Mini 4, I can't remember. I was doing a home inspection. I was using all the obstacle avoidance. I was flying on my top deck and I went ahead and tried to fly into a wall and it actually did crash into that wall. So these added sensors here are going to prevent the drone from doing that. It's going to determine its distance from obstacles in any light, and that will prevent you from crashing. The bottom actually does have laser sensors, so that probably would work on the bottom as well. So only the front and the bottom is going to be kind of using that laser. Just make sure if you're flying in low light, you're not trying to do an orbit or like back up into things. Otherwise, you probably will still crash. Anyway, 35% done. Let's go ahead and finish this up. All right, guys, drone just rebooted. We are at about 54% on the controller screen. Okay, guys, some action going on. The controller here, the fan just kicked on. We got a little blue white light. The battery lights are now flashing in the center. So it looks like it is now installing or flashing the controller firmware. There we go. Just had a reboot. Okay, guys, interesting stuff. So that was about 5 minutes to get the controller. It just started rebooting here. So I would say give yourself about a half an hour to do these 2 updates. If you get an update like the one I had here where it's updating the drone and the controller, and now we're getting another 2 minutes of updates, it says on the screen. So give yourself a good half an hour if you're going to do these big updates like this. You can see on the controller here, we're up to 3 lights. Wow, we're rebooting again. Okay, interesting. So it took, that was actually over 2 minutes to reboot. We're at the DJI splash screen, still charging. I don't think it's actually stopped charging when it actually rebooted. So that's good at how it's a consistent charge throughout this whole experience. It's like a separate circuit to charge it, so it's not influencing the software. Almost there. Initializing resource data complete. Come on, let's go. We got a blue light on there. User feedback. No, don't want to put any user feedback right now. Okay, before you fly, just a little bit of tutorial academy. Connect to aircraft. Okay. Nowhere I had seen in this entire process that it said the drone shut down, you must restart your drone, but that's kind of obvious. So I'm just going to do the infamous tap till I see lights, tap and hold. And that is the drone boot up process, guys. If you're wondering what it does, twist the camera left and right, chimes in. And there we go, beginner flight tutorial. New things on the screen. Do you see that horizon level there? There's actually that little green thing in the center of the screen. That's new. Here's the right roller. If I roll it in and out, we get some zoom. On the right hand of the screen, you can see that going up to 3 times. We have a portrait mode. If I just hit that there, the camera did actually turn to vertical. So that's a true portrait. Very cool. We'll zoom out. We'll try to tap on the screen, focus on the controller. Very good fast focusing. Pictures and video up here. We're in photo. If we wanted to go to video, we just go over here. So all the same stuff like the DJI app has as normal. Master shots, quick shots, hyperlapse pano. We actually have a slow motion down here, 1080p at 240 frames per second. Wow. We can also do 4K slow motion at 120 frames per second, guys. Very cool. Let's go back on slow motion and go back to normal and see what our shooting is in normal mode. As you can see, I'm tapping down here on the actual screenwriting on the resolution and FPS. So 4K, we have all these options here, 60, 50, 40, 30, 25. Might be a little washed out on the screen there. 1080, 60 to 24. Okay, those are only 2 resolutions on the video camera. We're in N mode right now. We can change our modes right here with the C. Cinema is like a slow mode. Normal mode is just the intermediate mode.
Obstacle sensing unavailable. Fly with caution.
That's new. When you put it in sport mode, it tells you verbally that obstacle sensing is unavailable. Great new feature there. Let's just give it a warm up here. So sticks down and in.
Take off.
Awesome. So those propellers are moving. Let's focus in on that drone over there. There he is. And I can just pull the stick down here and it will shut them off. Look at those propellers though. They're not flopping around like the other Mini 4 Pro. They're stable and locked in, but they still move if you need them to. Look at this. They just have these little like detents or something in there. So many little upgrades. That's so cool. Into the options. All these options here. Advanced RTH optimal. We are in meters. So let me see if I can change this really fast to imperial. Control, there we go. So we're in control. I'm in the US, so I'm gonna change it to imperial. That's what we use here still. Let's go back to safety. And now you can see we are in our footage. Remember, this one has those sensors on the front that even in low light at night, it should avoid obstacles or at least stop and not hit them. That'll be a good test to do, wouldn't it? Maybe we'll do that as well. And, you know, just the basic stuff. So, oh, there we go. So this is the feature that the Flip had, and it looks like they have now implemented it into the Mini 5 Pro. Unfold arms and power on. Sometimes I like to unfold the arms, set it down, and not fly quite immediately. So I'm going to turn that off, okay, guys? But if you want, you have that option. Fold arm to power off. That's actually good to maybe leave on, unless maybe you're using it as a camera folded up and you're just trying to hold the thing all folded up and use it as a gimbaled camera. You're not going to want to have that on. I'm going to leave that on just in case, say I forget to turn it off and I start folding the arms in, it will automatically power off. You can tune pretty much everything in these now. I'm just looking for any new things I haven't seen since the Mini 4 Pro. And pretty much the only thing I'm seeing that's new is that folding the arms, turning off and on. Everything else is fully customizable. Here's the camera. Coding format is fixed at H265 now. Remember, it let you choose from 264 and 265. It's now fixed at 265, so you can't change that anymore. The Mini 5 Pro, guys, has 42 gigabytes without even putting a card in it. Good to know. I believe the RC2 controller, it had like 128 or something gigabytes. You can actually record your screen immediately if you wanted to. You just slide down right here on these controllers and you hit screen record right there, boom. And you can record everything that the screen is showing you. So if you want to record your flights that way, I use that a lot on my flight tests. Transmission, dual band, 2.4, 5.8. If you leave it in dual band, which it is now, it will automatically switch between the two depending on what is the most efficient and less crowded frequency. So I always leave it on dual band when I'm doing my range tests. Channel mode as well, I leave on auto. And you can see how it's showing you interference down here. So the drone chooses to lock on to the signal that has the least amount of interference. Everything seems to be up to date, guys. We are good to go. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of everything I wanted to show you guys in this first video. Fantastic that we have a 1-inch sensor now on the mini series in general. Quick release propellers, fantastic. And the batteries, guys, the batteries are quite a bit bigger than even the last Plus version of batteries. Man, I am just excited to get this thing up in the air. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see the initial flight test on this thing. I go through everything. We're also going to have the range test. Between the range test and the tracking test, I do 2 separate videos. Time will tell if this thing is also more durable than the Mini 4 Pro. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video and stay tuned for much more on the 5 Pro. And also don't forget, the Neo 2 is coming soon, and I'm trying to get the Mavic 4 Pro too. So that should be in the pipeline as well. Anyway, guys, I got this from Amazon. If you want to get one, I'll have a link down in the description of where to get this bad boy. Much more to come, so stay tuned. And thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Almost forgot to show you guys how to pack all this up. So quite interesting. You get it on the front sensors, and then you got to kind of push it in between those bottom feet here. And I believe these are supposed to kind of go in here. This is kind of interesting. Okay, that kind of like snapped in the bottom. And then all we have to do is make sure it goes over the top of these propellers. And let's see how that goes. So we want to push these propellers in towards the center and then just clip this around that first vent. That was pretty easy. Definitely a lot easier when you don't have these propellers like swinging freely all the way down and around like the Mini 4 Pro had. So that is a great upgrade. You can see here how these guys are kind of sliding under if you push them a little hard, but they do kind of like just want to click back into that position. And we have a heck of a lot more room in our bag here. Check that out. So it looks like they changed to having a box with all the accessories in, probably just for shipping and packaging and like warehouse stuff. But then once you open all that up, you're gonna wanna just shove everything back into that mesh bag anyway. And it looks like everything's gonna fit in here just fine. We got our ND filters, definitely be using those in the flight test. Multi-charger here, controller here, and then we have a whole nother slot where that box was with accessories for like more batteries or whatever we wanted. So I do actually like the slightly larger bag, even though it's not gonna be quite as compact. At least we can fit a few more things in it. I think this is a good compromise to either too small or too big. So I think this is kind of the perfect size bag.